Today, we're going to look at one of the most unique advantage plays you'll ever see. And it was effective. It allowed the player using it to crush online poker games for tens of thousands of dollars, and it didn't even require particularly strong poker skills. But it was really controversial. This story has everything. A very effective advantage play, controversy, a villain who came back and confronted his critics, and even a song. It's got its own song. This is one of the most unique, controversial, and hilarious advantage plays ever. Let's talk about the play of Cowboy Marco. So Cowboy Marco, he was a heads-up player, and he became a very controversial figure in the heads-up community at the time because of his tactics. The tactics he was using were very interesting because they were absolutely bizarre and brutal, but they worked. But before we get into the technical detail of exactly what Marco was actually doing, let's get some context about when and where this all unfolded. This all unfolded around 2009, 2010. And just like Marco, I was a heads-up specialist at that time, and I was deep in the game at that time. My strongest game online were the heads-up sit-and-goes. So if you're a cash game player and you're not familiar with what a sit-and-go is an online tournament that is unscheduled and just starts as soon as all the seats at the table are filled. Heads-up sit-and-go is naturally a one-on-one tournament, so there's only 2 seats at the table. Once you've got players in them, turns into a freeze-out. You play until somebody's lost all their chips. So as I was a heads-up specialist, I used to read the heads-up forum on 2plus2 pretty much every day, with a focus on the heads-up sit-and-go section of that forum. And it was in that section that I came across this post. So a user called GlazJamie said, maybe someone can help me out here. I'm playing an $11.25, so that's $11 buy-in, 25-cent rake, deep stack heads-up sit-and-go against Cowboy Marco. He's timing out almost every time it's his turn and not really playing any pots. At this rate, it's going to take forever. It shows him as number 1 in shark scope, so I don't understand what's going on. I need an explanation from someone who's played with him. So the poster mentions shark scope there. Shark scope is a player results tracker. What made it really popular with the online poker community is that you can look up a player's results really quickly and it'll show you a visual, a graph of their recent performance so that you can start profiling them straight away, even if you've never played this person before, in terms of whether they're a strong player and they're a winning player or whether they're a fish, just from this graph, and you can do that in seconds. This is what a shark scope graph looks like. This isn't Marco's graph, by the way. It's just a good illustration of what a winning player's graph looks like, a strong player's graph. So this post led to the 2plus2 poker community investigating Marco, and sure enough, he was crushing those games. He was returning a 28% return on investment. That's unheard of. He achieved that over a 19,000 match sample. If it was a small sample, it wouldn't have piqued anyone's interest, but to return 28 ROI over 19k games is crazy. So he was investigated. It turned out that the tactic he was using wasn't to everybody's liking. So what was the play? How could he put these numbers in? And why was it controversial? Marco relied on a set of circumstances which at the time only existed on PokerStars. He had to play heads-up sit-and-goes. But that wasn't enough. He had to play NBI heads-up sit-and-goes. Now, an NBI is a no blind increase structure. And he would play the deep stacked version. So players are starting 200 big blinds deep in those matches. NBI tournaments meant that because there was no blind increases, they took ages because the players wouldn't end up being short stacked and having to take action like they are in a usual tournament format with escalating blind structures. People didn't want to play all evening to play one $10 heads up match. The unpopularity of them should have been a problem for Marco. But let's not forget he played 19,000 of these tournaments. So how did he manage to get that volume in? The way he did it is another point of controversy because he relied a lot of the time on the way the PokerStars lobby could be filtered or had to be filtered. Most players would filter by their buy-in. So they'd say, okay, I want to play $10 tournaments. Then they would filter by the type of tournament. So they'd put in heads up sit and goes. So you'd have $10 heads up sit and goes. But NBIs will be mixed into that list. And what would happen would be that some people would misclick those and join those tables by accident when they did not want to play an NBI. They did not want to invest that time. In a lot of circumstances like that, regs would actually refund you and let you out of that. If you said, oh no, I've joined by accident, because as soon as you sit down and heads up sit and go, your money's deducted, the tournament starts. And you can't stand back up, it's not a cash game. So you play then to the death. A lot of regs would let you back out of it and they'd refund you it, right? But Marco would never do that. And he'd go further than that, because in these NBI tournaments, they're quite a long time bank. Now, the time bank is supposed to be for players who want to have a long think about a particularly difficult decision. So you'd only use it very occasionally. Most decisions in online poker are made in seconds. But you've got a time bank, and I think in these NBIs it was a minute, it might have been even more, if you wanted to use it. Now Marco would burn the clock on every single decision. He'd let the time bank time all the way down on every decision in order to frustrate his opponent. There are reports in the 2+2 thread for Marco that these matches could take 6 hours, 8 hours, somebody even says over 8 hours to play one match against him. So Marco was therefore then relying on either the player tilting and just shoving all in, even when they were maybe 200 blinds deep. And the way he would react to that would be that he would fold and time down and fold and time down until he had an absolute premium hand like queens or better, and then he'd call. And then go in as a massive favourite to win the pivotal hand of the match. So that was one way that he would win his matches. And the other way would be that people would just give up because he wouldn't refund them, and because they didn't want to invest God knows how long hours in one $10 heads up tournament. They'd give up. They'd just close the table and he'd blind them off. So he was relying on tilt and people accidentally misclicking and not having time to complete the tournament to win. So as I'm sure you can appreciate, that didn't go down well with the community at Heads Up Sit and Go forums on 2+2. But the fact that this was taking place on 2+2 made it even better, because Marco then turned up and started posting and responding to his critics. I'll add a link to the thread so that you can read these if you want. He didn't respond very much actually, but this initial response here that he posted, well, it was quite a while after the initial post, but it was in response to the initial post. He said, "I think that I've proven myself enough to avoid such stupid comments. There is no swearing explanation. Maybe I'm just better than you. When you have 28% ROI after 19k, you are welcome to judge me." Now, as you can imagine, this stirred the pot even more. The 2+2 forum members were up in arms once he comes on and says it is worth a read. It's long, but it's worth a read. But he comes back with another post, and this one, bear this one in mind for the gem that's coming up in the end of this video. He says, "Wait a second, when I'm the best in the world at my limits, then maybe you should think about it, because I can't be that wrong. Why 95% of the posts here are full of hatred? Well, criticize me, have fun." So he can't understand, or at least he's feigning that he can't understand, why people are upset with his tactics. And this is the point of contention. There were some people on there who were defending him, and there were some people on there who thought he was despicable. But somebody on there decided to make a song about the controversy. So this is a gem. I'll link it in the description, but let's watch together the Cowboy Marco song.
Man, why does 2+2 have to hate? couldn't do this without skills. I'm the best in the world at my limits. At my limits. I'm sitting in my trap, waiting for you. Come to Papa, I have a little treat for you. It's po, 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 po. Poker star, baby man, come on, let's go. Cowboy Marco, he's sitting in the lobby, chasing Indians like a one-man posse. I'm sitting in my trap, waiting for you. There you go, fool, nice misclick dude. Now I time you down, don't you like that? Haha, I'm laughing all the way to the time bank. I can play forever, I don't have no plans. Wait a minute, I have plans, goddamn, I might have to go. This is gruesome, I have a dentist appointment in 2 months. Let's hope then, this game is over. Until then, let's play poker. Wouldn't really want to be in his shoes. Here we go, hero, check out my moves. Pause and fold, pause and call, pause and bet, pause, you dead. I'm better than you, not just lucky. 28 ROA, so you can't judge me. So I time down, what the fuck? Some plays never tilt baby butts. I think that proves I have to be good. Won't someone please admit I'm good? Think about it, yeah, you silly guys. Best in the world, but you criticize. You should be cheering for Marco's wagon, but you just flame me like some dragon. What will it take? Or is it too late? I'm cool like a lake. Haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate.
Okay, we're not going to listen to the whole thing, but needless to say, it's brilliant. At the time, for the people who lived through the controversy, it was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, let's get some final thoughts. So, final thoughts. And if you want to listen to the whole song, and it is brilliant, there's a link in the description for it. Anyway, let's talk about the Marco play. Despite the controversy, it was a great advantage play. Didn't break any sight rules, but still managed to take over 70,000 in profit. And that was all based on $10 and $16 buy-in heads-up matches. I've got to ask myself though, could I run this play? And the answer's no. It would feel like it was torturing me as much as it was the players I was trying to tilt and take advantage of. Anybody who plays poker for profit knows it's always a grind. But this would be a step too far for me. Hours and hours and hours to play one $10 buy-in heads-up match is too much. And that makes me feel like I have to respect Marco's commitment to this play, because let's not forget, he played 19,000 of these matches. I like this story, not just because of the controversy and the comedy that came from the song and those things, which were just the icing on the cake. I liked it because it's quite unusual to find a real advantage play online like this that works in poker. It's very unusual in itself, and it did work, and there's no denying that. And whatever you might think about how it was done and whether you respect Marco's tactics or not, you have to respect that it did work, and it's really unusual. Anyway, if you watched this far, thank you. And I hope you enjoyed the story of Cowboy Marco. Thanks for watching.
Cowboy Marco, he's sitting in the lobby, chasing Indians like a one-man posse. I'm sitting in my trap, waiting for you. There you go, fool, nice misclick dude. Now I time you down, don't you like that? Haha, I'm laughing all the way to the